Hi guys, I'm Crew Dog Gamer. I'm a former U.S. Army Chinook flight engineer and current Air Force avionics technician, and more relevant to this video, I'm an avid gamer. So if you enjoy military content, gaming live streams, and general fuckery, please hit the subscribe button, or don't if you don't feel inclined. Also check out the links in the description for my social media, Discord, and Patreon. Spoiler alert, and viewer discretion advised. There are spoilers of character fates and graphic scenes of animated violence in this video. Enjoy. If you've ever had a conversation amongst your nerd buddies or gaming friends, comparing games is almost certainly a subject matter that will be discussed. For some reason, the unanswerable question always gets brought up: what's the best game ever made? How can someone answer this question with so many variables? Are we talking storyline, character development, graphics, games that changed the gaming industry, Halo 3, Call of Duty 4, Red Dead Redemption, Battlefield Bad Company? I mean, what is really the best game ever? I think the safest route to keeping your friends is to just say that there is no real answer here. Or at least I used to think that before way back in 2012 when I played the first season of Telltale's The Walking Dead series. So let's talk about Telltale's The Walking Dead. If you like deep character details, intense story development, amazing cel-shaded visuals, and killing zombies while trying to keep the morality of an 8-year-old girl intact, then Telltale's The Walking Dead is the game for you. Telltale's The Walking Dead started all the way back in 2012, and I have clear memories of my friends coming over to my house just so we could experience the first season of this game together. Even my mom would stand there for 30 minutes or so just watching the game over my shoulder. The gameplay seems simple, with very basic interaction menus, but the story-making and outcome-changing, decision-based system really gives you the feel that you're in the game. Making a game this personal seems like such an impossible task to me. By the way, the devs really made the characters feel like someone that was made by the player instead of the devs. It sets off so many endorphin reactors in my brain that I'm pretty sure I could power my Toyota Tundra with happy thoughts after playing it. With 6 games involved in the series, there's an endless amount of playability here. We start the game as a man named Lee in the back of a police car, screaming down the highway, while a distracted sheriff deputy tells us a few taking people to jail stories. The one about people crying always makes me kind of laugh a little bit. But the game takes an immediate bit of action. It kicks the game off with the sheriff deputy swerving off the road to miss a pedestrian, and a stunned Lee, who is controlled by the player, having to fend off a now zombified sheriff deputy while still handcuffed. After managing to narrowly escape the car crash and being turned into a complete snack by Officer Doofy, Lee stumbles upon a backyard with a treehouse looking for some help. In the house, he goes in and only finds it empty. He ends up being contacted via a radio that he finds on the counter by a small girl named Clementine, who's actually in the treehouse in the backyard. Unfortunately, Lee has to go Lee smash on Clementine's spooky walker babysitter who got bit and attacks him inside of the house. From this point on, Lee and Clementine are together until the unfortunate destiny of Lee, but I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum. We see the two grow and bond over the countryside and downtowns and suburbia of Georgia, meeting and losing multiple people, and on more than one occasion, almost becoming walkers themselves. The deep bond these two form makes the ending of Season 1, in which Lee is slowly turning into a walker from a bite received while rescuing Clem from Pedo Randy and his Hotel of Horrors, an absolutely devastating and heartbreakingly sad moment in video game history. I'm being fucking serious here. I wept as a grown man at the death of Lee, and the reaction from Clementine was worse than anything I've ever seen in a movie. There's never been a video game series that could tug on your heartstrings and make you feel completely emotionally unstable like The Walking Dead. This game will have you saying what the fuck and please no through the shirt you're biting all the time, just a regular basis thing. Throughout the next 4 canon games, 400 Days, Season 2, A New Frontier, and the final season, we'll see Clementine grow into a young woman who now has responsibility over a child herself. And just a side note here, the decisions you make in fucking Season 1 will affect how things play out in the final season. So I'll keep the spoilers to a minimum, just understand that something you won't think matters, it absolutely can matter, 5 games down the road. I'll try not to tell too much of the storyline. I'll focus more on the question that I'm sure I have the answer to. What makes The Walking Dead the best game I've ever played? Surely I had to witness the scenes of Cortana going rogue, or the victories and death of Soap McTavish, or even the evolution of Arthur Morgan and John Marston. So what makes another zombie story the one that takes the cake for me? The difference here is that this game could be about bakers escaping a dough-apocalypse where donuts are taking over the planet, and if it involved the same people and the same fates, it would still be the best game ever to me. The situation isn't the important thing, it's the tone that's set with the soundtrack, the dialogue, player fates, and the feeling that you're watching someone's life. I mean, you really feel like you get to watch people reveal themselves in their truest form, and more importantly, you feel like you're the one who broke down those walls to make them do it. Every choice you make can affect who lives and dies, who stays or leaves, who now has to walk around with one eyeball or leg, and who turns into a walker themselves. Not only that, the goddamn feedback system at the end of each episode forces you to know whether more people would have performed the same actions, or if you're some 3% of psychopaths that committed a heinous act. If we can all agree on one thing here, it's that when we play a game, or watch a movie, or even listen to music, we want to feel something. No one's going to a movie theater to sit there stone-faced and watch a movie that doesn't invoke a chuckle, or a tear, or something, happiness, you know? People who look to music for entertainment want shit that makes them bang their heads or relive some memory that makes them happy or sad. We want to feel something when we play a game, whether it's laughter, sadness, fear, suspense, or just straight up feeling like you're having fun. This game will have you feeling every emotion you've got in the fucking inventory in 10 minutes flat like it's a psychology NASCAR crew chief. This game hits every type of person in those categories. It has beautiful visuals that make the game feel like it's the best mix of an interactive movie and a serious video game. The soundtrack fits every scene so well, especially the intro song, Take Us Back by Alayla Diane in the final season. The atmosphere of the game just sucks you in so immersively that I'm glad no one that hasn't played the game yet has to go through what I went through, which was literally waiting for episodes to come out so I can figure out what happens next. So just imagine your favorite TV show. Now imagine you can make decisions that decide what happens next and who gets killed off and where you go and who gets maimed and who's your friend and who's not. Now imagine that you have to wait months for the final episode of one season. Now imagine you have to wait 2 fucking years for the next season. I mean, damn, there were 5 games that mattered and I had to wait 8 years for all of them to be out and to figure out how the series would end. It ended beautifully for me, by the way, but results may vary. But that raises another point. It's not really one game. Even though there are many seasons, most people just call it Telltale's The Walking Dead, but it's not really one game in the essence that in a normal game, you play it, the story happens, the game ends, and now you can go join in on the discussion about how the game was. If you take every person that has played Telltale's The Walking Dead and put them in a room and made them talk to each other, there would be looks of confusion across the entire room. Everyone has made different decisions, and at some point, they were all essentially playing a different game. You can play through 5 times and experience completely new things every time you play if you make a couple of choices a little bit differently. Now, there are things that are guaranteed to happen, but that doesn't change the fact that with every choice you make, different dialogue options are heard, different animations are made, and the entire experience of the game changes. People will treat you differently, make things harder or easy for you, or you're left with a massive amount of guilt because the person you called an asshole 5 minutes ago ends up saving your character's life. You have to take these choices with a grain of salt and keep going, because even if the choice makes you feel like shit, you own it. You move on to the next scene. Because this is the story that you're making, and even if it doesn't turn out the exact way you want, and I promise it won't more than once, it's yours, and no one else's is like it. They might have similarities, but nothing is going to be the exact same as yours. I think that's one of the biggest selling points of this game. When you finish the game, there will be things that make you happy, things that make you sad as fuck, and things you'll figure out were right in the long run, but wrong in the short. But it will be your game. It'll be an experience you molded yourself. And I think that makes it the best game ever.